Debbie's with me now, as is Benjamin Elks, who's Grassroots Development Manager at Taxpayers Alliance. We'll get to Debbie in a second, but Benjamin's first. Benjamin, tell me what is changing here and why.
Good afternoon, Peter.
Hi
it's
there.
great to be with you. So what's happening here is come April this year, the government is extending its Making Tax Digital initiative. It's going to bring in sort of sole traders and people who receive income from property. And essentially, they're going to have to start submitting quarterly updates to HMRC on their earnings and their expected earnings and that kind of thing. And they're going to have to start using particular accountancy software in order to do so. But the big problem with this is it's going to pile enormous amounts of cost onto these sort of sole traders. We're talking about people like plumbers, electricians, hairdressers, this sort of thing.
I mean, they've enough to do already, and doing an annual tax return is something that takes up a huge amount of time anyway, and money as well, getting an accountant a lot of the time to sort it out for you.
Absolutely, and sort of they're going to have to be using this sort of specialist software in order to make their submissions now, rather than just sort of going onto the HMRC website and filling in your self-assessment. You're going to need to use specialist accountancy software, which often come with subscription costs running into the thousands of pounds. That, or they'll have to be employing very expensive accountants in order to make the submissions for them.
Why is the government doing this, Benjamin?
So we do have a situation where it would be good to modernise our tax system, and the idea of digital record keeping isn't a terrible thing. But what we see here is actually this is more than likely simply going to make life easier for HMRC and the officials there, rather than actually doing much to benefit sort of small businesses or sole traders.
Benjamin, thank you. That's Benjamin Elks there. He's the Grassroots Development Manager of the Taxpayers Alliance. Debbie Heath is, as I say, a small business owner as well. I need to declare an interest in that she's helped me with my website, petercardwell.com. But Debbie brought this story to me. She's talked about how it will affect her business, and we're going to talk to her now. But this is from the 6th of April. A lot of people doing the tax returns at the moment, of course. The deadline is the end of this month, and it's coming up very, very soon, just on Saturday. But from April, HMRC requiring thousands of landlords, small firms and the self-employed to pay for software to file self-assessment forms they used to do for nothing. And this is, if you have an income above £50,000 a year, you're going to have to pay for commercial software so they can file their tax returns as part of HM Revenue and Customs Making Tax Digital scheme. Debbie, thank you so much for bringing this story to me. How will it affect your business?
So, I find it really odd that we all understand when we submit our tax return, which we shouldn't have to do till the 31st of this month, and then we get told what we owe. Because I'm really on it, I submitted my tax return early through my accountant, and then they've preempted what we're going to have to owe for next year, but they want a payment on top of what we're paying for the actual year at the end of this month, and then they want another one on the 31st of January.
So hold on a second. So you've paid your tax for 25-26, you've paid that, you've done that, and now because you were ahead of others, they're saying now you've got to pay more because they're anticipating what you may pay over the next financial year. I mean, that must seem like a slap in the face, Debbie.
100%, and the fact that a lot of, as you know, because I did your website, I've got quite a few hospitality clients, and they've actually folded their businesses. So where you think they're going to stay with you, but they don't need the facility anymore because they've shut down, they want me to pay tax on that. How is that possible? Because if you work for an employer, are they going to say, well, we think you're going to stay with that employer, therefore they want more money from you, and preempt it? It's just ludicrous.
Well, you can't predict the future, and you don't know who your clients are going to be now versus who your clients are going to be in a year's time. And so many businesses will have that experience. Just tell me about your business. How many people you employ? Are there freelancers? Are there staff members? Just tell me about that.
So my business, we're all contractors. So when I need somebody, they come in and I pay them for their service. But like I said, I rely on my clients, and mostly my clients don't leave me because of the service we offer. But we have had people, I took on a client in September that was breaking away from her partnership. She wanted to start off on her own. And she just didn't have the money to pay for a website up front. So I agreed a payment plan for her. And we were doing her social media, and she went, because she'd lost a client, therefore she's going to pull back on her social media and have a go at it herself. And I was like, that's fine, because I understand everybody is sort of struggling, but I just don't understand who the winners are here, because it's not us. We're, you know, how are we supposed to live?
You're facing a bill as well. HMRC says it will cost an average of £320 to switch to government-approved software, then £110 a year after that. Experts say it could be more than 4 times that. But you need to employ accountants as well, don't you?
Exactly. So we normally pay our accountant once a year to do our tax returns so we can give more back to our clients. That's what we're here for.
And just make a living as well.
Exactly. But now we're going to have to pay what we pay our accountant once a year, 4 times a year, which is also mad.
Have you discussed this with HMRC? Have you got any advice from them? What have they said to you?
I phoned HMRC and said to them, I can realistically pay this for my tax because that's what I've accounted for. And I basically got told that I was being unrealistic and therefore we're through this part of the year, therefore I can cough up more. That was exact words from HMRC. And I said, you record your calls for training and security purposes. Please go back and listen to this call.
Well, that's a very good response. I mean, there are lots of people at HMRC who do not know what it is like for you to run your business, do they?
No. But there was one guy I spoke to who was very, very sweet. And he was just like, if it was him that could run HMRC, he wouldn't have done this. But I just think it's unrealistic. I mean, if you work for somebody and they paid you a monthly wage, how would you feel if they came back to you and said, your tax is £100 this month, but now we're going to take 200, even though you may not stay with them? It's just ridiculous. And it's just horrifying. I just don't personally know what to do.
What would your message to Rachel Reeves be? What would you say to her?
Be realistic, my love, personally. I just think this is completely unfair. And I understand why people down tools and say, let's not run a business anymore. As you know, Peter, you know me, I have PTSD, so I get really upset when people say they can't work due to mental health. I love getting up every day. I am an alarm clock Briton, and I do want to work. But what is the point if you're paying tax on tax? It's just unrealistic.
And there are lots of people like you who've come out of the forces who served this country, Debbie, I know your husband does as well, who want to set up a business, who want to do something different, who want to contribute and do things. I mean, over all of this, not just what's happening now, but everything else that's happening about national insurance contributions, about minimum wage and all the rest of it. I mean, since Labour has come to power in the last 18 months, has it become harder or easier to run a business?
It's become harder because all you want to do, and like I said, you know me, so I want to give something back. But you start thinking, why? Mm-hmm. Why give something back? You just get a slap in the face all the time. But I just think asking people for money or tax on top of money that they've never actually got at the moment is just wrong. It's criminal.
Debbie, listen, thank you for that. Thank you for bringing the story to me, and thank you for the excellent job you've done on my website as well, petercardwell.com.